About the locked room. I found something interesting.
What is it?
Before, we believed there was only one way out of the storeroom, but there's another way.
What? There is?
A vent? There was something like that in the storeroom? Yeah. Actually, it was behind one of the shelves. And this vent leads directly to the armory. Since I was looking for what was joining this vent, I also happened upon something very suspicious. I want you to look at this.
Is this packing tape?
Yes, when Rintaro said it must have been poison gas, it made me remember this. The culprit climbed inside of the vent in order to release the poison gas. Then, they taped over the vent inside the armory. That way, the gas would only seep into the storeroom. I see. Chie inhaled that gas and died. Using this vent, the wolf was able to re-enter the storeroom from the armory. They locked the storeroom from the inside and thus created the locked room. And then afterwards, they used the vent to leave via the armory. That makes sense. But it's such a narrow air vent for someone to fit into. That's right. Out of all of us, who can enter the air vent? Ritsu.
Huh? Stop screwing around. You can't say I'm the wolf.
But for this specific case, only an atypical person can fit inside such a narrow air vent. And that person can only be you, Ritsu.
Me? From what all you've just said, to say that I'm the culprit because of that theory of yours is just ridiculous. Maybe it's to hide the fact that you're the wolf.
Huh?
Firstly, when Chie was trying to open the door, why did she painfully claw at it? Do you really think I have the strength to hold the door closed from the other side?
Well, that's... As a girl, she's not that strong. Yay, sexism. So why would she try something so painful? There must be some sort of evidence for this. That's right. You used a key structural part of the door.
A structural part? It looks like a normal door to me.
There is some damage in the lower corner on the outside of the door. Couldn't you have used a solid pole or a plank to wedge into the door there to keep it from opening? That would explain why Chie would hurt herself if she couldn't get the door open. Even someone as weak as Ritsu could do that.
Ugh. For the sake of argument, say I did do that to keep the door closed. But wasn't the shelf in front of the air vent also super heavy? There's no way I'd be able to move that all by myself. And so, since that heavy bookshelf was in front of the air vent, there's no way I could have used the vent.
Yeah.
That's why everything you've said doesn't make sense. Yes, theory busted. With this, you believe I'm not the wolf, right?
But hold on a second there. You just said that the bookshelf was really heavy, but could you really not move that bookshelf?
That's what I'm telling ya. There'd be no way I could move it.
But could that shelf really not be moved? Speaking of that, Rentaro, didn't you tell me that the other shelf in the storeroom looked like it was cleaned? Yup. While we were in the middle of our investigation, I noticed that the other shelf had been made spotless. So you're saying the fact that the shelf was cleaned up was to make the shelf lighter? Maybe so, but make the other shelf lighter. Why would they do that? To use a heavy shelf to block the air vent. What if they moved all the things from the other shelf to make the one in front of the air vent heavier? In other words, during the time of the crime, this shelf was completely empty. And after everything was done, in order to keep us from finding out about the existence of the air vent, they moved the books to this shelf. Oh, even Ritsu would be able to move an empty shelf.
But, one more thing. When we broke into the storeroom, wasn't the shelf in front of the air vent already packed with books? I would have had to leave via that air vent, but I wouldn't have been able to with that heavy shelf in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
See? That's why it doesn't matter if the shelf was lighter before it was made heavier. If I was to escape with the air vent, there's just no way I could have moved that shelf.
Yeah. What she's saying is right. It doesn't matter that even when it was lighter, they'd have to move the shelf back in front of the air vent after leaving through it. But I think there's a way. Wasn't there a suspicious point on the bookshelf? Oh, there's a mark on the shelf's leg. It almost looks like someone wrapped something around it. I got it. These are marks from a rope or a cord. A cord? First, they tied a cord around the shelf's leg. Then, they brought the cord with them into the air vent. Then, while inside the air vent, they slowly pulled the shelf in front of the air vent. I see. If you do it this way, then you'll be able to move the shelf in front of the air vent. So, in summary, after the crime was done and the shelf no longer light, a cord was used to pull it in front of the air vent. Later, during a break in our investigation, they returned and removed the cord from the shelf, so we think this was its original position, correct? So using this air vent as an entrance was disguised with a heavy bookshelf. This was all done to stage a suicide in a locked room. And Ritsu did all of it.
No, I'm not the wolf.
Enough running away. The only person who could enter that air vent was you. This trick was made up. Sadly, reveals that only you could have done it in the first place. Has the wolf been decided?
No way. No, I'm scared.
Chie's suicide was all Rich's doing. Making a locked room. Incredible, Ritsu.
Damn it! There's something else.
Jeez, we already have all the evidence that you're the wolf who pulled off this locked room trip. Well then, everyone, are you fine with saying Ritsu is this child's wolf? No, I don't want to die. I'll never forgive you. All right, let's begin Ritsu's execution. Crash to the other side without falling. The execution is complete. That alligator ate her all up. She was cut off before saying that last thing. Now there's only 3 of us. Well, that's pretty sad that only you boys are left. We'll see if that girl was really the wolf. Let's reveal the answer. Correct! She was the wolf. It's just like you guys had guessed. Chia did indeed lock herself in the storeroom. Then Ritsu used a plank of wood to keep the door from opening. Next, she crawled into the air vent and mixed the detergent to make poisonous gas to go into the storeroom. After she climbed out, she taped up the air vent, covering with packing tape, sealing the room. And the gas went solely into the storeroom. Chia inhaled the gas and died. Afterwards, Ritsu returned to the room wearing a gas mask through the air vent. She relocked the door, left the empty bottle of poison and a suicide confession note to be found. After that, before returning to the armory via the air vent, she created the trick to conceal the existence of the air vent from you all. First, she thought it would be good to have a heavy bookshelf in front of the air vent. Firstly, she moved all the things from the shelf to the other one. Then, she tied a cord around the shelf leg. She entered the air vent and exited. And pulling the cord, she was able to move the shelf in front of the air vent. Since she wasn't able to remove the cord then, she returned later through the air vent and removed it, just like was said. With this, the locked room was perfect, and it looked just like she had killed herself. Incredible of Ritsu to think of all that in such a short amount of time. Yeah, it really was a clever trick. Alright, a door out will open, is what I want to say, but you can't leave from this one. So then, the door out, open!